How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Satan's Cheerleaders. This is from 1977, directed by Greydon Clark, and stars Kerry Sherman, John Ireland, Yvonne Carlo, who you may know from The Munsters, and we also have an appearance from John Carradine. And I have to say, I love finding this kind of stuff when I'm digging through my used media store. I love horror movies, but I love obscure stuff, and I love weird stuff. And when I see a movie like Satan's Cheerleaders, I'm like, I hope this is as cheesy and stupid as it sounds. And this one legitimately is. If you want a silly little cheese fest, this is gonna be right up your alley. And for the right crowd, they're gonna absolutely love this movie. But before we dig in too much, what is this movie about? No spoilers, but basically in this movie, you get a team of 4 high school cheerleaders, and they get kidnapped by the janitor, who it turns out is worshiping the devil. He brings them to this altar in the middle of nowhere. However, the ritual goes wrong and the girls escape. But 2 things happen. One of them is beset upon by a mysterious power, and 2, the whole town appears to be in on the cult, so it's one of those town with a secret type movies, and you get a lot of the girls running around, getting into silly little antics, and, trying not to get sacrificed to the devil or anything. And I have to say, this movie is like, especially in the first third, you almost don't even know this is going to be a horror movie. You get the girls partying at the beach and goofing off with the other football players, and the rival school shows up and the girls get in each other's faces. It's very pop heavy, and you even get this soundtrack going in the bottom of all these fun little old school beats. And the cheerleaders are very big personalities. Each one has their own little gimmick, but they're all very feisty. They're like, when the rival school shows up, they're not afraid to get into their face, and when the Satanists show up, they're going to do their best to survive. But they're also pretty ditzy, and we do get some jokes in that vein, but we also get a ton, and I do mean a ton, of sex jokes in this movie. Like, any little thing you can think of, and almost constant throughout the whole thing. I hear that football player really scores. Yeah, and sometimes on the field too. Stuff like that. And the jokes just keep coming. They're not necessarily great, but they do keep coming, and that lends to this whole thing being this stupid little adventure, and you get the cheerleaders running around this field with their, names really big on the front of their uniform. There's just something really just on the nose and not hold back about this movie, and again, that really does lead to the cheesy atmosphere. But of course, after the 1/3 mark, the movie kind of becomes more of a horror movie, but it's not super scary. It doesn't really get that hardcore at all, really. Like, it feels like part of me wishes there was more stuff. There was more surrealism and more danger behind it. That would have made it a lot funner. Like, the cheerleaders are here. We sadly don't ever see the devil in the flesh. It would have been cooler if they had a bit more of a budget, and you can kind of tell with this movie when we get towards the end just how much of it is running around and pulling antics with these townsfolk. You're like, I wish we had a budget to do surrealist stuff, because, you do get just a little too much of lollygagging chase sequences, and there's one part where the sheriff's wife is trying to do a spell, and we do get a whole bunch of chanting there. So yeah, as the movie goes on, it does at points start to drag a little bit, which is, kind of upsetting. It's one of those that I'm like, I wish we did have a bit more of a budget and a bit more time to write something cheesy and over the top happening, because I really did like following these characters around in this silly little adventure. I just wish we had more adventure to go on. One of the bigger things that I wish got elaborated on was the power that got unleashed. They go to the ritual, and one of the girls is somehow changed, but they don't elaborate on that enough. It's an interesting idea, and when they do touch on it, you can see something interesting starting to come out here, but at the same time, you're left kind of going, okay, what's going on? This power isn't the devil. Maybe it's something else. And yeah, I think I know what happened at the end, but I kind of wish that this element of the film was explored a lot more, because it, turns into a few moments and it turns into a few jokes, but it's definitely a case of like that could have been like a good chunk of the plot of the movie, and it's just a little underdeveloped. But all that being said, even though this isn't the biggest, best film by any means, it's a case of it establishes this fun and quirky little atmosphere, and the groovy music keeps everything upbeat, and the characters are these fun, likable, over-the-top cheerleaders, and they even have their, like, cheerleading coach that tags along with them and is, like, oblivious to half their jokes. It works, there is energy to it. I do wish it played up into something bigger and something more developed, and I do wish it went more wacky, crazy, and over the top. But you know what? If you want a little light comedy, a little cheesy movie to spend the afternoon, it's not, groundbreaking by any means, but it's always super fun to hang out with these girls and watch them run around the town and tell incredibly stupid sex jokes just constantly. So again, for the right crowd, for the right mood, this is definitely going to be really good for some people, but I can also see a lot of people just groaning at this, so this is just kind of a question of your own preferences. I thought this was really fun, but again, for that lazy Saturday afternoon, I just want to put on something goofy type of feel. That's where this really hits the spot. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom if you guys want to see me talk about more movies kind of similar to this. You can find those there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist here. Have a good day now.